So, does anybody think voting is important anymore? And I mean, is it? Is it really? I want to talk about that tonight. I want to talk about whether or not voting is really important. Now, let's forget the fact that there was like a 2 decade long push to get people to vote by the same guy who's now going to probably be charged with all kinds of crazy, shady stuff. And yeah, I'm talking about the bad boy guy, right? You guys remember, like, vote or die? I mean, it's all just bad. This year is not turning out to be a good year for those of us who have memories and aren't over the age of 70 and or running for political office, to the highest of which is probably in the whole world, and or other things. I'm just saying, right? It has been a tough year for politics, and rightfully so. Again, the same guy. I can't get over it. But again, who couldn't have guessed it? Red flags, and just like voting, I would say that this particular year is fraught with sort of the misdirection of there not being anything sort of good about any potential outcomes. Now, I'm not even going to get into candidates, right? And again, I more or less like to talk about the age of the candidates as opposed to the actual candidates, but bipartisanship politics here in the United States of America are what they are. Baby boomers are still alive, very active, and very influential. So, yeah, there's a couple of old people, really old people, running for office this year. And the thing is again, we can talk about political ideologies and the candidates themselves, but they fail to reflect the actual foundation of American politics, which lies within the power that we give our electors, as they would be, as it pertains to the electoral college. And so, again, I find that when I do these videos, I try to convey my thoughts in a manner of which don't require any sort of brash words or harsh words or, like cussing, right? Like, I say bad words. It's not, a thing or whatever that I don't do. It's just I try to refrain from doing so. And I really think that the Electoral College is just one good example of me practicing my responsible and ethical sort of verbal communication towards strangers in a manner that's positive, right? And I want to stay that way, but it's not at all what you might think it is. And so let's go through a couple of things. This year there will be over 270 eligible American voters, and this is pretty cool. The year 2020 brought a record number of people out to the voting polls, and that was good. Again, this particular video is not an attack on either political party, either political candidate, but more the actual electoral college, who doesn't really owe its constituents anything. I mean, politicians are, at least on the surface of things, responsible to the people with whom they've been elected, right? There's an understanding, there's a social contract there. But when a democracy relies upon 538 randos who we never really get to know about in terms of transparency and or public election through a mass democratic process, I just feel as though it undermines the entire foundation of a direct democracy or a democratic republic, even in this regard, because it doesn't matter who really wins or loses the popular vote. What matters is who is able to get the 270 electoral votes from the Electoral College by the electors that, again, we just don't know about. And that's frustrating. And so I guess to answer the question, is voting important? I think there's a lot of things to think about before we answer that, but absolutely we should still vote. So there's also that, which is probably a very weird American millennial thing to say, maybe even, is that like, it's on fire, but let's still vote. Because again, it's not really the people we're voting for or even the policies that they represent, I'd argue, more than the foundation needing to be changed, and the fact that an electoral college continues to put people in power that may or may not be best suited for such position, I think is inherently against all of our interests. And I want, us to all be better. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think so many other people feel the same way.